Frontotemporal degeneration, or FTD, causes uncharacteristic personality changes, apathy, and unexplained struggles with decision-making, movement, speaking, or language comprehension. It's often misdiagnosed as bipolar disorder, depression, and sometimes just a midlife crisis. Learn more this World FTD Awareness Week by visiting the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration at theaftd.org.
Wherever you go, whatever they get into, from chill time to everyday adventures, protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredeliaQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 432 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing great.
Yeah.
I said it on TCAT, but I'll say it here. If you are a Patreon member, you need to watch this week's video because Gibby is wearing a shirt that I swear is meant for a 12-year-old boy. It barely contains himself.
Yeah.
But it does say Fergie, 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 Fergie on it.
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate it.
It's weird how my nipple piercings press through.
Yeah. Yeah. You could see those pretty prominently.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Ashley.
Hey, Ashley.
Jonathan Humbers.
What's going on, Humbers?
Carla Adams.
Hey, Adams.
Selena Salmons.
Salmons.
Stephen S.H.
Steven and Schmish.
Yeah, I'm saying it multiple ways because I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Tina Borchik.
Oh, a Borshik. That's like Russian.
Maybe. Jean Vansil.
Hey, Fansil.
Amy.
Good old Amy.
Audrey Miracle.
Hey, Audrey.
And last but not least, Anna Pierre DeLuca.
Ooh, Pierre DeLuca.
And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Adele.
Or Adele.
But we appreciate the new support and the continued support.
Always.
We have a new episode out right now on True Crime All the Time where we're on to part 2 of the Rodney Alcala case. In this one, we cover the known crimes he committed in 1979 and how he was finally apprehended for good.
I like how you say known. Because there is some unknown.
Oh, I think there is a lot of speculation when it comes to Rodney.
Yeah.
That he killed a lot more people than what is known. All right, buddy. Are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am.
We're talking about the death of Sneha Anne Philip. Officially, Dr. Sneha Anne Philip died during the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks in New York City. However, she was last seen alive on September 10th. And there is no definitive evidence placing her at the World Trade Center on September 11th. Originally, investigators questioned whether certain alleged aspects of her life and lifestyle supported the conclusion that she died of another cause. Sneha Anne Philip was born on October 7th, 1969, in the province of Kerala on the coast of southern India. She and her family moved to the United States when she was a child. She graduated from Johns Hopkins University, and in 1995, she entered the Chicago School of Medicine. She wanted to become a doctor, like her father.
You don't sound easy to be a doctor.
It's not, and I know you know firsthand. These are also two very highly regarded institutions, right? Johns Hopkins and the Chicago School of Medicine.
They are. I've written some...
Oh my goodness. If that's not Mensa, I don't know what is. I've written
some white papers for them in the past, So
okay,
yeah.
You've also written apparently some papers.
I have.
You have never said that you got a degree in English, so it's been medicine, law, things like that.
Look, when you have and know seven, is it seven now? Yeah, seven different types of languages,
or just 7 different languages.
Yeah, and you mastered Latin at a young age. Do you really need English?
No, apparently not.
I mean, I did okay.
You've done well without it.
Yeah.
Chicago is where Sneha met her future husband, Ron Lieberman, who was originally from Los Angeles. He was a year behind her in the medical program. Sneha decided to take a year off so she would graduate the same year as Ron. She traveled to Italy during her gap year. Sneha and Ron graduated medical school in 1999 and both received invitations to do their residency internships in New York City. Ron was placed at the Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx. Sneha went to the Cabrini Medical Center in Manhattan. She worked as an internal medicine resident, and Ron was an emergency medicine resident. The two married in May 2000. They lived in an apartment at 225 Rector Place in Lower Manhattan, just a third of a mile from the World Trade Center. By all appearances, they had a happy marriage. Those who knew Sneha described her as energetic, outgoing, popular, beautiful, and smart. But they also said she was troubled. Doctors who worked with her said she was a talented physician, but had problems applying herself and focusing.
It's always been my problem, applying myself and focusing.
The talent is there.
It's buried underneath all that.
But you might have a touch of ADHD.
Just
or something that is keeping all of that talent from being realized.
Yeah.
At first, Sneha loved working at Cabrini, but she started issues at work. In May 2001, she received notification from Cabrini that they were not renewing her residency contract. She had a problem with showing up late for work and had been asked to leave several times because she didn't seem focused. A supervising doctor told ABC7 New York she once had to send Sneha home because she came to work drunk. Okay, can we just talk about being a doctor with people's lives in the palm of your hands? I mean, first of all, you can't be drunk. That's just a given.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
But even not being able to focus could mean the difference between life and death in certain situations.
I feel like there should be like a interview with the doctor before they perform certain procedures on you. Unfortunately, most cases you're out of it and you don't have that opportunity, but you kind of want to run through some questionnaire. Like, have you had a rough day today? Are you happy in your current situation? Did you have lunch today, and was there an alcohol beverage included in that?
Like the questions they ask you, or do you feel safe in your home and things like that.
Exactly.
In June 2001, Sneha was at a bar with a group of Cabrini coworkers. She claimed that one of her male coworkers sexually assaulted her and she hit him. She filed a police report the following morning. On the same night, the male coworker said Sneha trespassed into his apartment to tell his wife about what he allegedly did to her. Okay, that's going to be a rough night for both parties,
Right.
Depending on who is telling the truth.
I mean, if she's telling the truth, then he got what he deserved.
But it's going to be tough for him in trying to explain that to his wife.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well deserved, but tough. Now, the problem, Gibbs, is that the NYPD and Manhattan DA investigated and determined that Sneha made up the story. She was charged with falsely reporting an incident, assault, harassment, and trespassing.
And that's where it's wrong. You just can't do that stuff.
No, you could wreck a person's entire life.
Yeah, their career, their marriage,
Everything.
everything.
By making up a story like that. The prosecutor offered to drop the charges if Sneha recanted, but she refused. She was arrested and spent the night in jail. She always maintained that she was sexually assaulted, and her family believes her. After the alleged incident, Sneha became depressed and started drinking. By September 2001, she had a new job at St. Vincent's Hospital, now Richmond University Medical Center on Staten Island. Shortly before September 11th, she was placed on modified duty at St. Vincent's because she didn't attend counseling sessions for substance abuse, which was a contingency of her employment there.
Well, you got to follow the rules. And if that was the rules when you got hired, you got to attend those classes.
But it's interesting that they knew about it and they hired her anyway with that contingency in place.
Well, it sounds like she was honest about it.
Or they found out during the background check somehow
yeah.
or something along those lines. On September 10th, 2001, Sneha didn't go to work. She went to court to face the charges and pleaded not guilty. According to a later police report, her husband, Ron, stated that they got into a fight at the courthouse. Ron was upset that she was using and abusing drugs and alcohol and was conducting bisexual acts. She walked away and left him at the courthouse.
Yeah, it's a rough day for the husband.
Now, he would later testify in court that the two didn't have a fight. At 10:30 a.m., Ron and Sneha arrived at their apartment and had breakfast together. She said she was going to clean because they were supposed to have her cousins over for dinner the following night. Ron left to go to work at 11:30 a.m. He kissed Sneha goodbye, but returned quickly because he forgot his keys. He went back inside, gave her another kiss, and went to work. This was the last time he saw her.
That's a double kiss kind of a goodbye.
Yeah.
That's a good day for some people, you know. Not only did you get the first kiss, you get the second kiss.
That's two more than some people get all day.
That's true.
From 2 to 2:30 p.m., Sneha meditated in her apartment. At 2:30, she chatted with her mother, Ansu, via instant messaging for about an hour. She filled her mother in on her weekend with Ron, and she seemed excited about the future.
Do you still meditate?
No.
You quit doing that?
I did.
Okay.
Once my guru got caught up in all that cult mess,
yeah,
I had to get out.
It was a strange thing. I mean, you did it nude, and that was strange right there. But the fact that you did it out on your driveway.
Yeah, the neighbors weren't real keen on it.
Yeah, that was a real interesting time of your life.
In 2001, Ansu did an interview with 2020 and recalled one of her last conversations with her daughter. Sneha told Ansu that she was ready to have children, and she thought Ron would be the greatest father in the world.
Now, how can that be if we're the greatest fathers in the world?
Because she doesn't know us.
Well, that's true. But clearly she loved Ron.
Well, yeah, and I think these types of conversations are so important, right? When somebody goes missing, because it really provides a lot of context around their state of mind. I mean, to me, she does not seem like a person at this point in her life who wants to just run off and start a new life. Between 4 and 5 p.m., Sneha told her mom she was going to run errands. Between 5:15 and 5:30, the doorman at Rector Place saw her walk out of the building. She didn't return by the time he finished his shift at 11 p.m. At 5:30 p.m., Sneha went to Century 21, a department store that was a 12-minute walk from her apartment. She was captured on surveillance footage in the store, and this is the last image of her alive. According to ABC7, she was looking at coats because she told Ron she wanted a new coat for her birthday. And I've never heard of Century 21 other than it being like a real estate firm.
Yeah, that's different, huh?
Never heard of it as a department store. Century 21 has 6 floors. The coats were on the 5th floor. Sneha went to the 3rd floor to buy lingerie. She then went to the basement level to get bed linens. She made both purchases on Ron's card at 6:05 p.m. At 7:18 p.m., she bought 3 pairs of shoes on the ground floor of the store and most likely exited on Broadway.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like somebody that is depressed or someone that wants to end their life or maybe even run away. I mean, you're getting lingerie, you're getting a coat, some shoes, some laundry stuff. I mean,
yeah, it's not really stuff to take with you to start a new life, maybe, as much as it is stuff to be used at the home that you're planning on going back to.
Yeah, I don't buy my lingerie to run off, you know.
You buy it to wear in your bedroom alone.
Yeah.
Like that guy in Signs of the Lambs. We've all pictured it. A little tuck here, a little tuck there, and
or big tuck here.
You're ready to go. There. Now, no one knows where she went after she left Century 21. It was a rainy afternoon and it stormed later in the evening. She left the store with about $500 worth of merchandise. It seems pretty unlikely that she walked around Lower Manhattan in the rain with heavy shopping bags. It's possible she met up with someone she knew, but no one knows who that could be. At 11:30 p.m., Ron returned home from work and saw that Sneha wasn't there. He thought she might have been at her brother John's apartment on Greenwich Street, about a 5-minute walk from their apartment. She and John got into a fight the night before, so Ron thought maybe she was there trying to patch things up. Ron went to sleep around midnight because he had to leave for work at 6:30 a.m. the following morning. He wasn't worried about Sneha that time and figured she was with her brother or with a friend who lived a few blocks away. According to a family attorney, Mark Bogatin, Ron and Sneha had a somewhat unusual relationship where it was not uncommon for her to stay out all night and return the next morning.
But that's where we're different. I think I would still have concerns. I don't know if I could be comfortable knowing that my partner may not come home that night. That's fine if you're not going to come home, but at least let me know where you're at so I know you're okay.
Yeah, and for me, you know, my wife and I are always here at night. You know, she goes to bed, I'm here. That's just, you know, some people have different types of relationships. If my wife was not here when it was time to go to bed, something is really, really wrong because she loves her sleep and would never stay out past a certain time.
So I thought you were going to go with because she loves her husband, but no, you went with because she loves her sleep.
Yeah, and she might love it more.
I'm kind of thinking she does.
What was a source of tension was that Sneha didn't tell Ron where exactly she was staying, and it was something he was trying to work on with her. She didn't tell her husband where she was going on the night of September 10th. So, you know, back to your point, that's something you would want to know. I think Ron wanted to know it too. They just weren't in sync there. She wasn't giving him that information. Sneha was still not back when Ron woke up early on September 11th. She wasn't scheduled to work that day. Ron's morning meeting ended at 9 a.m. He found his coworkers gathered at the TV, watching the news. A plane had struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Minutes earlier, Ron called home immediately, but Sneha wasn't there to answer the phone. She didn't have a cell phone either. Ron left multiple messages, but never received a call back. And, you know, that would be, you know, kind of a harrowing experience in just a normal situation.
Right.
But now put it in context with what, you know, happened with a plane flying into the World Trade Center. And I think it's ratcheted up exponentially because you don't know where your loved one is. And all of this other stuff is going on. Ron told New York Magazine that at the time, he didn't think Sneha had any reason to be in the World Trade Center, so he didn't consider that as a possibility. He worried she'd been kidnapped or had gotten into an accident the night before. According to ABC7, he did consider that she might be helping with the emergency response or that she went to her workplace to help.
Like so many did.
Yeah, a lot of people did. By 3 p.m., Ron was still not able to get in touch with Sneha. His hospital didn't get the influx of patients they thought they would get, so he asked if he could leave to try to find his wife. His supervisor allowed him to leave, so Ron got in an ambulance that was heading to the World Trade Center due to the chaos in the aftermath of the attacks. It took Ron 6 hours to get to his apartment building. He arrived around 9 p.m. The building was dark. The doors were padlocked, so he couldn't get inside. When he looked up, he saw a light in one of the windows. He shined a light into the window to get the residents' attention and asked them to knock on his unit door. The resident knocked on the door and reported back that no one answered. And I remember that day, Gibbs, like no other day really in my life. I remember where I was, who I was with, because, of how shocking it was.
Oh, yeah.
And, here, we were in Ohio watching it on the news.
Exactly.
I can only imagine what it was like for the people in New York City, not only because so many people died, but everybody was affected because, you don't know where your loved ones are. Phones are down. It had to be such a scary time for everyone. So after this, Ron left the building and went to Ground Zero to volunteer his help. Ron went to a friend's apartment in the West Village at 2 a.m. and spent the night there because he still couldn't get into his building. He was able to get into the building on the morning of September 12th. There were no signs of Sneha. She had left behind her driver's license, passport, glasses, although it was reported she typically wore contacts, and credit cards. The only card that was not accounted for was Ron's Amex card that Sneha used at the department store.
Okay, so she just had the one that she used at Century 21, but otherwise no other credit cards or forms of ID.
Yeah, not even a driver's license. Now, maybe it's more common for people in New York City not to have their driver's license because a lot of them aren't driving.
Yeah, but you probably still need them for, I don't know, if you go to the bar and want a glass of wine or something.
Well, yeah, but if you're not going to a bar, maybe you don't take it everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we do just because we drive everywhere.
That's true.
But people in New York City don't, or a lot of people don't. Ron called everyone in Sneha's phone book, but no one had heard from her. She had mentioned to her mother that on the week of September 11th, she was thinking about visiting Windows on the World, an entertainment venue on the top floors of the North Tower. However, at this time, Sneha's family wasn't fully convinced that she died in the towers. Her family put up flyers all over the city. They went to restaurants, hospitals, psychiatric centers, and bars Sneha liked to go to, but they didn't find any leads. When Ron reported Sneha missing to the NYPD, he said he didn't think she died in the attacks and thought something happened to her the night before. The NYPD considered this possibility. There was only one murder on 9/11 outside of Ground Zero. Someone shot Polish immigrant Henryk Siewiak around 11:30 p.m. in Brooklyn. His case remains unsolved. On September 12th, Ron went to the 9/11 Help Center at Lexington Avenue Armory. He saw reporters and thought he would be able to get Sneha's photo shown all over the country. When reporters heard he last saw her on the 10th, they lost interest. Ron was desperate, so he called her brother John and suggested he come talk to the reporters and leave out a few details. John spoke to a WABC reporter and claimed he talked to Sneha moments before she disappeared, saying, "I was on the phone with her and she told me she couldn't leave because people were hurt. She said, I have to help this person, and that's the last thing I heard from her." Now, this of course wasn't true, but WABC ran a picture of Sneha's flyer, but no new leads were generated.
So they had to lie to get her in the media.
Yeah, because, reporters weren't interested in the truth.
Right.
As time passed, John worried that he led investigators down the wrong path. He later told New York Magazine, "Maybe if I didn't do it, maybe it would have gone another way." It became a hero story. The police interviewed John within a day or two of Ron filing the report. According to the police report of the interview, John said Sneha had been acting weird, going out at night with friends and not coming home until 2 days later. John later told the police that 2 nights before she disappeared, he was with his girlfriend at his apartment. They were having drinks. John left to buy more alcohol. And when he returned, his girlfriend and Sneha were engaged in sexual activity on the couch.
Well, it's going to be a little strange to walk back into, right? Your sister and your girlfriend, you just ran out to get another bottle of wine. Didn't take very long.
Well, he didn't take it well. He yelled at both of them. A verbal argument ensued and Sneha left. John has denied ever having this conversation and denied meeting with retired detective Richard Stark, who wrote the report. Stark told ABC7, "I have his interview on the report. Oh, we picked that up. I think the family was just embarrassed about the situation. They wanted to put it under the rug and figured it had nothing to do with anything, which I don't think it did." So basically, he's saying that John did say it. It did happen, but then later the family, they didn't want it to get out, right? So they denied it because it was embarrassing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, is that something you really want out there? Probably not.
Probably not. First of all, your girlfriend's cheating on you with your sister. And then secondly, you're walking in and seeing your sister in a situation which you probably would rather not see.
Yeah, it's got a lot of layers there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that does to the relationship with your girlfriend after that.
I don't think it makes it stronger.
Probably not.
Definitely ruins future family get-togethers.
Well, Thanksgiving's going to be awkward.
Right.
For sure. Meanwhile, Ron was still searching on his own for Sneha. He received a call from Sonia Mora, a clerk in the shoe department at Century 21. Sonia told him that Sneha was shopping there on the 10th. She recognized her because she was a regular customer. Sonia said Sneha was with a small woman in her early 30s who was possibly Indian, according to ABC7. The clerk later told police she wasn't sure if Sneha was with another woman. The shoe department had no security cameras to verify this. And I think, it's these types of things, Gibbs, that really kind of hamper an investigation. Things are said, and then people are like, well, I'm not certain.
I mean, I kind of thought maybe, but to be certain, no, I can't say certain.
So what do police make of it? And how much time do they spend trying to figure it out?
Yeah, if you're not certain, how much time should we really spend trying to figure out if it's worth chasing?
Ron spent 3 weeks in Century 21's offices reviewing security footage and found the video of Sneha shopping alone. In the code department, he also filed 2 missing persons reports. After he was ruled out as a suspect, the police seemed inclined to believe Sneha died at the World Trade Center on September 11th. And I mean, let's face it, right? Nothing like this had ever happened on this level. Is it a stretch for police to believe that she was one of the victims at the World Trade Center?
I mean, it's possible.
In December 2001, Ron hired private investigator Ken Gallant, a former FBI agent who went to Sneha's favorite hangouts and spoke to employees at bars and hotels near Century 21. He also spoke to friends, family, and coworkers. Gallant raised the possibility that Sneha may have left to start a new life. A former coworker of hers told ABC7 that when she learned Sneha was missing, she thought to herself, she did it. She got what she wanted. She got away. Gallant oversaw a forensic examination of her computer looking for evidence of a secret romantic partner or any plans to leave, but found nothing. His review found no unusual or unknown phone contacts prior to Sneha's disappearance. There was no activity on her cards or any large sums of cash taken out of her bank account. So it makes me wonder why he was thinking that she left to start a new life. Now, it only said he raised the possibility. And I get that. It's always a possibility. But how plausible is it when you don't find any signs of it? Remember, she doesn't have her driver's license, although probably not going to be much use if you're starting a new life.
Yeah.
But not taking any cash or, it's always tough for me because on the one hand, you would think you'd need some of this stuff to be on your own. On the other hand, doesn't that kind of tip everyone off that you've left to start a new life?
Yeah, so maybe she did the Julia Roberts thing.
And just left and figured it out.
Yeah, and she put some money aside, had cash that she took that, her husband in that movie didn't realize she had, and fled that way.
Yeah. Again, a lot of things are possible. The investigation did reveal that someone made a call from the apartment's home phone to Ron's cell at 4 a.m. on September 11th. Ron was the only one home that night. He didn't remember making the call, but figured he may have sleepily checked his messages. According to New York Magazine, when he went home after the attacks, his entire building was covered in a layer of dust. He didn't see footprints in the dust to indicate anyone was in their apartment. The private investigation also uncovered security footage from the apartment building at 8:43 a.m. on September 11th. A woman entered the building, stood near the elevator for a couple of minutes, then turned and left. The footage is pretty poor quality, so the woman has never been officially identified. But it is suspected that she could be Sneha.
Could be, or could be any other woman, right? I mean,
depends on how really bad this video is.
Yeah.
According to Ron, when Sneha stayed out all night, she would return between 7 and 9 a.m., so the time frame of the woman's arrival fits her pattern of behavior. Detective Richard Stark believes the woman is Sneha. He told ABC7, "I could tell by her mannerisms and the way she was dressed that it was her." So, a lot of questions come into play, right? Did she go to her apartment on the morning of September 11th, then go to the World Trade Center to help with the aftermath of the attacks? Was it actually Sneha in the security footage? Or, as was suggested as a possible theory, did she use the chaos as a cover to disappear of her own free will?
Well, if you wanted to disappear, that's one heck of an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, because the chaos was tremendous.
Right.
The whole city was in chaos. Now, we do know that she was having some problems at work, and Ron and her were allegedly having some conflicts in their marriage. Sneha's family told New York Magazine that she was let go by Cabrini Medical Center due to racial and sexual bias for being a whistleblower. A spokesman for Cabrini told New York Magazine they had no knowledge of any sexual harassment allegations made by Dr. Philip. Ron admitted to New York Magazine that Sneha stayed out all night with women she met at bars, but according to him, it was platonic. She sometimes went home with women she met, but they spent the night talking, making art, or listening to music. He specifically recalled one morning when she came home covered in paint. He noted that Sneha liked to go to lesbian bars so men wouldn't hit on her.
I guess he really never talked to his brother-in-law.
And didn't know about that incident? It's possible. Ron added, these allegations of her being bisexual are ridiculous because we don't live a conservative lifestyle doesn't mean that anything abnormal is going on. I'm a musician. I've been going out to bars and clubs my whole life. It doesn't mean these things are dangerous activities. He also said that the detail about their fight at the courthouse was untrue. But even if she was bisexual, Gibbs, I don't know how that plays into the different theories.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a dangerous thing. She's just bisexual.
So she could have been hurt by a woman versus hurt by a man. I understand maybe Ron has an issue with people thinking she was bisexual when he didn't think she was. But outside of that, I don't know how it plays into the whole story. Sneha's brother John also told New York Magazine that the missing persons report, which stated that he walked in on Sneha and his girlfriend having sex, was untrue. And as we said before, he claimed he didn't even speak to Detective Stark.
But yet Detective Stark has a whole file on it.
Yeah, and that's so strange because to me, that means someone is not telling the truth, right? Either John told this to the detective and now is recanting for whatever reason, or somehow this report was completely fabricated.
And if so, why? Why fabricate something like that?
Yeah, what's the angle? What's someone getting out of it? Ron ultimately came to believe that Sneha may have spent the night of September 10th elsewhere and was walking back to the apartment. On the morning of September 11th, she most likely went inside the World Trade Center to help and died there.
Very plausible.
It is because, like you said, right, how many people wanted to help out in this emergency situation? Add on top of that she's a trained doctor. So her instinct to do that is even greater than most people's. Ron said, these kinds of crimes don't happen in Lower Manhattan, that somebody goes missing from a homicide and they don't find the body. Killers are usually stupid. They leave clues. A body will come up. Sneha just vanished without a trace. The only thing that makes sense is that she burned in the World Trade Center. Now, again, like you said, that is plausible, but people do go missing from homicides and bodies are not found.
Yeah.
It does happen.
It does. We have covered it many times.
Now, he's not wrong. Some killers are stupid. Some leave clues, but not all. According to New York Magazine, a story of a heroic death, a story very much like the one John made up for the television cameras, took root. Perhaps that was Sneha on the videotape. Perhaps she went shopping, bumped into the friend whom the sales clerk remembers, went out for drinks, and thinking that Ron would be working late, ended up spending the night at her place. Perhaps she returned home the next morning, was in the lobby when the plane struck, and as a doctor, reflexively ran toward the towers to help. The theory had flaws. The woman on the tape, for example, was not carrying shopping bags, but it fit perfectly into the family's idealized image of Sneha, the version of her they hope to remember. So let's go back to these shopping bags, right? $500 worth of merchandise. Where did that go?
Did she leave it at her friend's place, maybe, that she bumped into and spent the night? Or was that not even her on the camera?
Yeah, that part we don't know.
Yeah.
But if it was her, then you have to figure out what happened to all the stuff she bought.
Yep.
The Phillips attended a memorial on the first anniversary of the attacks, and Sneha's name was read as part of a tribute to the victims. In October 2003, Ron filed a claim with the Federal Victim Compensation Fund. The police were still investigating her disappearance, though. And even though the police initially considered Sneha a victim of the attacks, the details they uncovered about her personal life led to other theories. Ron petitioned to have her death certificate state that she died on 9/11. In January 2004, the medical examiner's office announced it was removing the last three names from the list of official victims. Sneha was one of those three. Her family was devastated by this decision. And I get why they would be. There's a number of years that have passed here. And I think the last 2 or 3 years, they've been living with this notion,
right,
that she perished during the 9/11 attacks, right? Her name was read as part of the list. And now all of a sudden, she's one of three names being removed as official victims. It's almost like, okay, we know what happened to her. or we know what we believe happened to her. And now it's like everything's upended. It's open again. That had to be very tough on the family. And I think part of it's because you have this heroic angle, right? This thought that as a doctor, she rushed in to help people.
Yeah.
And ultimately died herself, a hero. That's a comforting thought.
But now you're taking it away from her.
And now you're taking it away from us. In July 2004, the court appointed a guardian to represent Sneha in her absence while her case was still in court. On October 15, 2004, her guardian filed a report stating there wasn't enough evidence to prove she died on 9/11. According to the report, because the absentee engaged in risky behavior, as described above, it is possible that she met some other unfortunate fate. On November 1st, 2005, a judge sided with the guardian and denied Ron's application to have Sneha declared a victim of 9/11. The judge declared her legally dead on September 10, 2004, exactly 3 years after her unexplained absence commenced, as set forth by state law. But I do want to go back to, what this guardian stated in the report, right? Because she engaged in risky behavior, it's possible that she met some other unfortunate fate. What is the risky behavior we're talking about here?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, right? Because,
hanging out with a woman? Being a lesbian? I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah, being a lesbian, going out to different bars every night, hooking up with somebody different every night. Is that the most dangerous thing that you can come up with? Is that really dangerous? I don't think that's dangerous. Might not be appropriate because she's married, but that's whatever they agreed upon in their relationship. How that affects their relationship is for them to work out. I don't know where the danger is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say being out late at night can be dangerous. I don't know. It's very vague. But as described above, and again, we don't have the whole thing,
right.
I'm thinking this thought that she was either bisexual or a lesbian played into what they're calling risky behavior. And yeah, I don't know. That's tough for me. Now, is it always possible that someone met an unfortunate fate? Yes.
Of course.
In all of the unsolved cases we do, that is possible. I'm trying to figure out how they know or why they're thinking she didn't die in the World Trade Center. Now, if you told me they identified every single person and she was not among those who were identified, okay, now you've got me.
Yeah.
But short of that, we're just throwing things around. Because Ron couldn't produce a 9/11 death certificate, the Victims' Compensation Fund denied his claim, which would have been worth between $3 and $4 million due to Sneha's age and potential earnings.
That's a big hit to Ron, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big chunk of change. There's no doubt about it. On June 29, 2006, the Surrogates Court of New York County found a statutory presumption of death on September 10, 2004, and refused to declare Sneha a victim of the attack.
Statutory presumption.
So that's the second court, right, that has said we're not going to declare her a victim of the attack. Family attorney Mark Bogatin appealed this decision. He told ABC7 years later, anything's possible. But in terms of what's likely, what's probable, what logically, what common sense tells you what happened is she unfortunately died at the Trade Center. On January 31st, 2008, a panel of judges for the appellate division of the state Supreme Court ruled that Sneha probably died at the World Trade Center on September 11th. She was likely coming home from spending the night out and died helping others. The judge acknowledged there was no proof she died at the World Trade Center, but the family and the private investigators' theory about what happened to her was based upon circumstantial evidence, habit, and his wife's predisposition to help others according to the highest calling of her medical profession. And I think this just shows you right here, Gibbs, that, judges, courts, they can look at what is essentially the same set of facts and circumstances and interpret them differently. And you do see that quite a bit. According to the court decision, since there is every reason to conclude that the decedent did not remain alive after September 11, 2001, the only question is whether there is a clear and convincing showing that she met her death through the terrorist destruction of the World Trade Center rather than by some other means. While it's logically possible that the decedent died by some other means on that date, either by random violence or at the hands of someone she met the night before, there's no factual basis in the evidence for that conclusion, while the demonstrated facts strongly support the inference that her death occurred in the context of the World Trade Center attack. This testimony powerfully suggests that she was in the area at the time of the attacks, either returning home or having just left again 5 minutes before the first attack at 8:48 a.m., whether on her way to shop at the mall, to look at windows on the world, or do some other errand. Petitioner's testimony regarding his wife's personality tends to establish that as a responsible physician in the area when the attacks occurred, she would have gone in and volunteered to provide medical assistance to the victims.
And that makes sense.
Yeah, I think what this judge is saying makes a lot of sense. Now, having said that, I think he's very honest in saying there's no proof either way. There's no proof she died at the World Trade Center. There's no proof that she was killed the night before. He is basing his decision on what is most likely given everything he knows about her. I don't know what else you can do. The court found that investigations by a police detective and a private investigator turned up no evidence of foul play, and the lead detective and PI concluded independently that Sneha must have died in the attacks. The surrogate court gave undue credence to the suggestion from the court-appointed guardian that aspects of Sneha's lifestyle supported the conclusion she died through some other cause. The guardian and the court relied on multiple hearsay statements and police reports that were attributed to Ron, but no inquiry was made of Ron at the hearing. The guardian's report referenced drug and or alcohol problems and the absentee's persistent drug and alcohol abuse. Detective Richard Stark acknowledged that Sneha appeared to have a personal problem with drinking and that she liked to go out and have a good time, and that she would drink possibly all night long and then come home, but he didn't consider it to be a factor in her disappearance. Private investigator Ken Gallant also rejected the notion that Sneha was out there drinking 6 nights a week. According to the court, there was no evidence that her drinking posed a problem that potentially caused her death, medically or due to a lack of judgment. There was also no proof that she had a drug problem either. The Guardian's report stated that Sneha frequented bars, including several bars which cater to women customers, and spent the night with individuals she met there who tended to be strangers. But the evidence failed to establish that she engaged in conduct endangering her safety. And I think that kind of goes back to your point. Okay, take out the marriage.
Yeah.
And the relationship with Ron and what is good for that. Going out, drinking at a bar, and going home with someone, whether that person is male or female. Can it be dangerous? Well, sure.
Yeah.
Anything can be dangerous, right? Backing my truck out of the driveway can be dangerous. But does it mean that she met with foul play? To me, it doesn't swing my opinion any more that way than it does towards the notion that she died at the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
That fact alone.
No, you're right.
Ron did acknowledge being upset with Sneha about her not telling him where she was spending the night, and they were trying to work this out. He explained, it was never a question if we were ever unfaithful to each other. It was always a question of being independent people, living together, trying to have independent lives, and being together. The court ruled, notably, the court-appointed guardian never asked petitioner to clarify exactly what occurred. But regardless of whether petitioner was completely forthright in his testimony regarding his wife's nights out, there's no question that they had a happy marriage. And importantly, there was no evidence that his wife's nights out involved any risky behavior.
And we even thought, right?
Yeah.
Where's the risk at here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we pointed out, right, from this guardian's report, it was pretty heavy on the risky behavior aspect. And what was that risky behavior? I mean, because this person didn't approve of her possibly having relationships with women, going home with women, that's risky. I don't know. It seemed to me like there was an agenda there. I don't know about you.
It kind of seemed like it.
Almost as if that person was kind of shoving their morality into the write-up.
Yeah.
Okay, they might not have approved of it. I get that. Some people don't. But, you know, when you're basing what you're going to tell the court on your beliefs or your morality or whatever you want to call it, I think that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, and you end up influencing the outcome.
Sneha's family later said that they spent so long fighting for this ruling, not for the money, but because they wanted her name added to the victim memorial. I think it goes back, right, to them being devastated.
Sure.
That her name was on there, it was read, and then 3 years later or so, it was removed. That had to be very tough.
I think so.
Ron couldn't collect money from the Federal Victims Fund because it closed in 2003. He confirmed that he wanted to get closure and added Sneha's name to the memorial.
But they should have got paid too, if that's the case. But I get it. I mean, the fund closed. There was no money to give anybody anymore.
Sneha's mother, Ansu, told New York Magazine in 2006, "I don't have even a grain of hope that she's alive or that anything else happened to her. It's more peaceful for me to think she died in the World Trade Center than I cannot bear to think that somebody killed her." So Sneha's name is listed on the 9/11 memorial in Manhattan, and she is officially recognized as a victim of the attacks. Now, it's still unconfirmed if she truly died there, but I think a lot of people look at it and they say the circumstantial evidence seems to support this conclusion.
And you're never going to be able to prove that's where she died.
Well, no, not unless there's some DNA or something. And I think they would have already had that.
Yeah.
If you know anything about the disappearance of Dr. Sneha Anne Philip, call the NYPD Missing Persons Squad at 212-694-7781. All tips can be kept anonymous. So, Gibbs, as we wrap this one up, we've had some other cases that have happened either on 9/11 or right after 9/11, 2001. They're interesting because of not only the circumstances of the individual case, but how it relates to this massive thing that happened in New York City and what was going on. The chaos, the lives lost, the resources that were dedicated to this one act of violence. So maybe there weren't resources to look into other cases, which we've seen in some of the other episodes we've done. But in this one, unlike the others, this person, it's thought, possibly died in the World Trade Center. And now they have officially listed her as a victim. I don't think there's any doubt. You know, she had a few issues.
Yeah.
You know, people said it, right? She drank a little. She lost a job, I think, because of it, maybe two. But I still think, as a trained medical professional, if you saw a situation where you knew you could help, individuals like that, they would probably rush right in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people, a lot of first responders who got there to help ultimately ended up dying, right? Because they didn't realize that there was more to come. There was more about to happen.
Right. Tragic.
Yeah, it's a tragic case. And like you said, I don't know if we'll ever know the truth on this one. There's a lot of mystery surrounding it. Or maybe there's not. Maybe the conclusion that has been drawn is the correct one, and there is no mystery. I know that's what her family would love to believe and does believe.
Yeah.
Number one, because that's a more satisfying, if that's the right word, context for her death, right? That it was in the service of helping others. I mean, her mom even said it. I don't want to believe that she was just killed by some stranger. They want to believe that she died a hero trying to help people.
Can't blame them there.
No, not at all. But that's it for our episode on Sneha Anne Philip. We got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hey, Mike and Gibby, it's Brandy from North Fort Worth. I haven't called in a few months. Just wanted to call and say I'm loving the show still. I've all caught up on everything and re-listening to true crime all the time from the first episode. I was going to say, it doesn't seem like y'all are playing very many voicemails at the end of the new episode. But also, I was in the car the other day and I heard Tiny Dancer come on, and it reminded me of Gibby when he used to think that it was Tanya Dancer. I just start laughing every time I hear that song because I think of Gibby thinking it was Tanya Dancer. Well, anyway, keep up the good work. I love you guys. Y'all are great. Love the podcast. And thanks. See you later, or talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Thanks for the voicemail. And we love you too. I think, the Tiny Dancer, Tanya Dancer, it goes down in the history of TCAT moments.
It's right there with, I used to think Gene Weber too for Dream Weaver.
Gene Weber?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've said that one
Didn't
before.
I don't know. Yeah. That's what I always thought they were saying. I'm like, who is this person? And then one day at work, actually, I was like, hey, that's a pretty good song about Gene Weber. And they're like, do you mean Dreamweaver?
Oh, so you were an adult.
Yeah.
Okay, because I feel like that one's very easy to hear, Dreamweaver.
No, you listen to it.
Oh, Gene Weber.
See?
No, that just doesn't make any sense at all. Oh, all right, buddy. I think on that note, that's it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
September, CBS hits are streaming free on Pluto TV.
I'm coming in hot.
For this month only, stream full episodes of Matlock.
I'm a lawyer, like the old TV show.
Fire Country, Elsbeth.
I do love a mystery.
NCIS Origins, Watson, and Ghosts.
What the hell?
This is the most amazing sight I've never seen.
All for free. The CBS shows you love, this month only on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
I've got 20 minutes till Run Club meets, and it's time for a quick pre-workout snack. Go-Go Squeeze Active Fruit Blend to the rescue. Made with select B vitamins to help release energy, it's an easy, squeezable pouch made to move with me. The taste? So good. And made with real fruit. Even better. Whether I'm hitting the trail or meeting my friends on the court, this is my go-to on-the-go snack. Quick, easy, ready when I am. When it's go time, I go with Go-Go Squeeze Active. Snag yours on your next store run. Search for Go-Go Squeeze on Amazon.